G'day guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to part 2 of my Foresight GC2 versus Garmin R10 comparison. Today I've got an exciting video. We're going to be comparing the Foresight GC2 to the Garmin R10, but this time we're going to use the Awesome Golf app. A lot of people use this app, a lot of people swear by this app and swear by the distances, the carry distances that this app says. This app is known to have more accurate carry distances than the Garmin Golf app, or people think more accurate carry distances than the Garmin Golf app. Today we're going to put them to the test and we're going to find out if that's the truth. I'm going to be using RCT balls, so it's going to be calculated spin from the R10. If you haven't watched the first video where I compared the GC2 to the R10 using the Garmin Golf app, then make sure you check that video out before you come to this one. I have aligned both units meticulously and I've calibrated my R10. Both devices in the software have the same weather settings. So we have 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 altitude, and 0 for humidity. I've tried to make this test as fair as possible. The test I'm going to do is going to be the exact same one I did the other day with the Garmin Golf app. I'm going to do some chips, some pitches, I'm going to hit some pitching wedges, 7-irons, 4-irons, and then finishing up with driver. And we're going to be looking at, in particular, the carry distance, the spin axis or side spin, which is going to dictate shot shape. And then we're also going to be focusing on the backspin. Without further ado, let's crack on with the test. Okay, so we're out here at the range now, and we're going to start off with those chips. I'm going to be looking to carry these about 6 to 10 yards, just like in the first video I did. And I'm going to be using a 60-degree wedge. Like I said, I'm going to be using RCT balls, so we should see calculated spin from the Garmin, which we found out from the first video was extremely accurate. Okay, so that's the first chip shot. We had 6.5 yards carry on the Foresight with 2600 RPM or 2650. And on the Awesome Golf app, we had 6.1 yards carry and we had 2600 RPM. So very similar. Okay, we'll go for another chip. Okay, so that one there on the Foresight, we had 7 yards carry, 2700 RPM. And on the Awesome Golf app, we had 6.4 yards carry and 2700 RPM. I'll do one more chip. I'll do it a bit further this time. Okay, so that was 10 yards or 10.5 yards carry on the Foresight, 3200 RPM. 10.5 yards carry on the Awesome Golf app with 3200 RPM. So very close. All right, so we're going to work back now. We're going to do our 60-yard pitch shots, and this will be where it starts to get interesting. Okay, so pretty much 60 yards on the dot for the Foresight with 8200 RPM. And the Garmin, we had a misread, which is pretty rare. Usually you don't get this many misreads on the R10. It's actually usually really reliable. So, all right, we'll try that one again. Okay, so 56.5 yards carry on the Foresight with 8200 RPM. We had 60 yards carry on the Awesome Golf app with 8200 RPM. In terms of spin axis, let's have a look. So the Foresight had that slightly drawing, and the Awesome Golf app had it going dead straight. So we see there on the spin axis, it was 0.0. So slight discrepancy there, but on such a short shot, the main thing we're looking for is carry distance, and the carry distance was exactly 60 versus 56. Okay, let's do another 60-yard shot. Okay, a little long that time. I definitely pulled, that one felt like a pull to me. Foresight had it 65 yards with 8600 RPM, and the Awesome Golf app had it 65 yards and 8600 RPM. So that is spot on, perfect. In terms of spin axis, the Foresight had it slightly right to left, and the spin axis on the Awesome Golf app had it going right 1.2 degrees, but pretty straight. I'll do one more pitch shot and then we'll move on to pitching wedges. Okay, wasn't the best strike, but for carry distance, we had 56 on the Foresight with 7,800 RPM. And on the Awesome Golf app, we had 55 yards carry with 7,800 RPM. And it was a slight fade on the Awesome Golf app versus a slight, very slight draw on the Foresight. All right, guys, so moving into pitching wedge now. So my pitching wedge is generally 136 yards carry. I've set it up for a 136 yard shot. So let's see what we get. Wasn't the cleanest strike, but we've got 130, pretty much 136 yards carry on the dot with 8,500 RPM for the Foresight. And on the Awesome Golf app, we had 134 yards carry with 8,500 RPM. So very similar. I'm seeing very similar carry numbers now between the two. So the Awesome Golf app seems to be giving us better carry numbers at the moment. In terms of spin axis, the R10 read that as a straight shot, and the Foresight again had it as a slight draw. Okay. All right, so Foresight had that shot 137 yards with 8,800 RPM. The Awesome Golf app had it 137 with 7,800 RPM. So a little less spin there, 1,000 RPM less on the Awesome Golf app. In terms of shot shape, the Foresight again had a slight draw, where the Garmin had a slight fade. But the carry distance we're seeing seems to be a lot more accurate or in line with the Foresight compared to what we saw in the previous video with the Garmin Golf app. Okay, that was a better swing for me. That felt like a neutral ball flight. And yep, that's what we saw. So pretty much dead straight on the Foresight. 136, 9,100 RPM, which is a good wedge shot for me. On the Awesome Golf app, 136, 9,000 RPM and straight. They both had it. So on the Foresight, it had it taking off 1.2 degrees to the right. On the Awesome Golf app, it had it taking 1.9 degrees to the right. Already, the data coming out of the Awesome Golf app seems to be a lot better than the Garmin Golf app. All right, let's move up to 7-iron. So 7-iron for me is 170 to 175 club. So I had a lot of people in the first video comment and just say, hey, make sure you select the club in the Garmin Golf app because it might help with the data that the Garmin's giving you. In these apps, all of that selecting which club you hit is for post-round analysis. So all of that stuff is for when you've finished your session and you want to go in and see averages for each club. If you select the club you're hitting, then you'll get each one of those clubs in a separate section and it'll give you carry distances and all metrics for those individual clubs after the fact. When you're actually hitting the shot, it doesn't matter if you select, you know, you're hitting a 7-iron or a driver and you're really hitting a lob wedge. It doesn't matter. Okay, so let's move on to 7-iron. All right, decent strike there. Okay, so the Foresight had that 172 carry, pretty much dead straight, and 6,800 RPM. The Garmin had it, or the Garmin with the Awesome Golf app had it 169 carry, rounding that up, 68 or 6,900 RPM and dead straight. That is a lot more accurate compared to what we were seeing the other day. In terms of horizontal launch, the Foresight had it 1.3 to the right and the Awesome Golf app had it 0.8 to the right. Even that is a lot more accurate and more consistent. Okay, that felt left to me and pull. So yeah, that was definitely a pull. As a result, the carry's gone up. Didn't feel like the best swing, but what data did we get? So Foresight had 177 or 178 with 6,400 RPM. Awesome Golf app had 175 with 6,300 RPM, both showing a pull. The what was our horizontal launch angle on the Foresight? It was 0.8 left and drawing, and the R10 with the Awesome Golf app had it going 1 degree to the left. So very close, 0.8 to 1 degree, so pretty much the exact same. The shot shape, the Foresight definitely had more of a draw shape to it. Okay, so very similar there. So Foresight had that 170 yards or 171 rounded up, 7,000 RPM. Awesome Golf had 168, sorry, with 7,000 RPM. Both of them took off dead straight. So the Foresight had it 0.2 to the right, and the Awesome Golf app had it 0.1 to the right. So very similar. I'll hit one more 7-iron. That was another good strike. Cool, so the Foresight had that 174 carry. It had 68, almost 6,900 RPM. And the Garmin had 171 carry and 68, almost 6,900 RPM. Pretty much identical. So the Awesome Golf app so far is a lot better with the carry distance using RCT golf balls. In terms of launch, we had 1 degree to the right with the Foresight, and we had 0.8 of a degree, so pretty much a degree right with the Awesome Golf app. So even that is, it's a lot closer than what it was in the previous test that I did. Spin axis, the Foresight had it pretty much dead straight, and the Awesome Golf app had it pretty much dead straight. So really good 7-iron carry distance, and all the data from the 7-iron there was very good. Okay, let's move on to the 4-iron. Not a good strike there, and the Foresight missed that one. Foresight didn't get that one. The Garmin did, so it wasn't a good strike. It fell out of the toe. Just for the Awesome Golf app, it had 192 carry and 4,700 RPM, so definitely not a center strike. On a good strike, I'd expect to see around 4,000 to 4,200 RPM. But that was the first miss for the Foresight. All right, both picked up on that one. Again, not the best strike. A little bit out the bottom of the face. It felt like a bit of a pull. Foresight had that 210 yards carry with 4,100 RPM, and the Awesome Golf app had it 209 carry with 4,100 RPM. Very close. In terms of shot shape, what did we have? So we had the Foresight read it as 0.6 left for the horizontal launch angle, which is what it felt like, and the Garmin had it 0.1 to the right, so pretty much dead straight. And we had for spin axis a slight draw on the Foresight versus a dead straight shot on the Garmin. Okay, not a good strike. It definitely impacted right. I saw it impact right on the screen. Wasn't a good swing, but let's have a look at the data anyway. So we had 202 carry on the Foresight with 4,400 RPM. We had 202 or 203 yards carry and 4,300 RPM on the Garmin using the Awesome Golf app. So very similar. For launch angle, we had 2.6 right on the Foresight, and we had 1 degree right on the Awesome Golf app. If I was to just guess and estimate, I'd say it was a bit further right than 1 degree, just looking at where it impacted on the screen. Okay, let's try and hit a good 4-iron. And that was definitely right. It was a better strike. It was still right. In terms of carry, we had 206 yards carry with 4,800 RPM on the Foresight. Carry on the Awesome Golf app, we had 206 with 4,700 RPM. Launch angle, we had, or horizontal launch angle, we had 3.2 right on the Foresight versus 2 degrees right on the R10. Okay, so we had 203 yards carry on the Foresight with 4,500 RPM. We had 201 or 202 yards carry on the Awesome Golf app with 4,500 RPM. Horizontal launch angle was 0.5 right on the Foresight, and we had dead straight on the Awesome Golf app. In terms of spin axis, it was a slight draw on the Foresight. I did tow it a little bit, so I'd expect to see a slight draw. And on the Awesome Golf app, it was dead straight. So the distances I'm seeing, the carry distances I'm seeing, are much more accurate and much closer using the Awesome Golf app so far than the Garmin Golf app. This is using an RCT golf ball, you got to remember. I have a hunch that the Garmin Golf app, the distances with the irons, a normal Pro V would give much more accurate distance numbers, not spin numbers, but distance numbers. And I feel like the next time Garmin updates their unit, I feel like we're going to see the numbers come more into line with what we're seeing from Awesome Golf. Okay, let's go out to driver. Okay, that felt like a toe draw. Let's have a look where they end up. So the Foresight had that 280 carry with 2,500 RPM. The Awesome Golf app had it 270 carry with 2,300 RPM. So spin was pretty good. But look at the shot shape. This is where you're going to notice a massive difference with a camera-based unit versus a radar-based unit indoors. I hit that one out the toe quite significantly. And as a result, from the gear effect of the club, the ball is going to start right and draw back. But what we notice on the R10 is it started right, but then it didn't draw back. Why is that? So with gear effect, when you hit a ball out the toe, it's going to open the face. The ball hitting the club is going to open the face. However, when it does that, it actually imparts draw spin or right to left spin onto the golf ball. And so what you'll see on course, or with a photometric based launch monitor, is you'll see it start right, and then because of that spin, it's going to draw back to the fairway. One of the limitations with radar based units indoors is they don't know where on the face the ball was struck. And so they can't add the gear effect into their algorithm. So the issue is, and this is much like the early versions of TrackMan, it was very simple, didn't have a camera, so it couldn't figure out where on the face it was being struck. The golf ball with the R10 is going to hit the toe, it's going to open the face, and then the R10 is going to take that launch angle and use that in its algorithm. So it's going to think that you've hit that shot with a face that's wide open. And as a result, most of the shots are just going to slice if you hit them off the toe. It's not going to take into account the gear effect. And that's exactly what we just saw there. It's not the end of the world, it's just something to be aware of. Okay, let's try and hit a better one. Okay, so that one there, we had 277 yards carry on the Foresight with 24 or 2,500 RPM. And on the Garmin, we had 273 yards carry and 2,900 RPM. Distance, in terms of carry distance, quite similar. Spin numbers are slightly off. Let's have a look at the other data. So we had a vertical launch angle of 13 degrees. We had a vertical launch angle of 12 degrees on the 12.2 degrees on the Foresight. Let's look at, so shot shape, the Garmin had that going straight. It had it starting slightly left and going straight, and the Foresight had it starting left and the slightest amount of fade. So pretty good for both of them, really. They're pretty much identical. The only discrepancy in that shot there was the spin, which was a little high on the Garmin. And I'm just wondering whether that was one of the ones that, even though I'm using an RCT ball, did it actually have time to capture the spin rate? Because that 2900 RPM almost looks like an estimated spin number to me. All right, slight draw there. Not the best swing. Let's get the data. So we had 274 yards carry on the Foresight with 2500 RPM. And as you can see, it started pretty much dead straight and then drew. On the Garmin, we had 263 carry, so a little bit short with 2300 RPM. So pretty close on the spin number. For the rest of the data, so the Garmin had it taking off slightly left and then going straight, so it didn't quite see the draw that the Foresight saw. Okay, so 281 yards carry on the Foresight, 23 or 2400 RPM, just under. On the Garmin, we had 272 yards carry with 2800 RPM. So a little short on the distance there. In terms of shot shape, the Foresight had that pretty much going dead straight, and the Garmin had that as starting right and fading. So for horizontal launch angle, the Garmin had it right 1.7, the Foresight had it right 2.7. Just the shot shape, the Foresight went straight and the Garmin went with a fade. Okay, that felt like a bit toey. And as a result, it's got a bit of a draw on the Foresight. Let's have a look at the data. So again, I think we're seeing more of the gear effect come into play here. So on the Foresight, we had 281 yards carry with 2000 RPM. On the Foresight, we had 265 yards carry. Sorry, on the Garmin, we had 265 yards carry with 1700 RPM. So it calculated the spin correctly. It just had the shot shape, again, going right and slicing just due to the gear effect. Okay, much better swing there. So we had 281 yards carry with 2700 RPM on the Foresight. We had 275 yards carry and 2,600 RPM on the Awesome Golf app. So pretty close in terms of spin rates. Distances I've been seeing slightly short on the Awesome Golf app versus what we're seeing out of the Foresight. There is less ball speed on the Awesome Golf app, I've been noticing. Like that one, for instance, on the Foresight, it had 166 versus 162.5 from the Garmin. That might be where some of the carry distance is coming up short because the spin rates have seemed to be quite accurate. In terms of the other metrics on that one, we had 12-degree launch and 12-degree launch. So they were both actually 11.9. So both the exact same. We had 0.5 right on the Foresight, the horizontal launch angle, versus 0.8 to the right. And both of them, so the R10 had that as a straight shot, so right and straight, whereas the Foresight had it the ever so slight draw. Okay guys, so that was round 2 of the Foresight GC2 versus the Garmin R10. This time we were using the Awesome Golf app. Again, we were using RCT golf balls. And I've got to say, the accuracy of the Awesome Golf app compared to the GC2 was far superior to the Garmin Golf app that we saw in the last video. If I was to own nothing but an R10 and I had to get someone to do a bag mapping process, I would definitely use the Awesome Golf app. The carry distances seem to be pretty much spot on what we were seeing from the GC2 until we got to driver. So all of the iron shots were within a few yards of each other. The spin rates were correct using the RCT golf balls. Horizontal launch angle, vertical launch angle, all seem to match perfectly. Pretty much across the board, the Awesome Golf app showed that at this point in time, it is the app to be using in terms of data and in terms of metrics, in my opinion. I will be doing a video on E6. I think E6 is going to be very similar to what we saw today out of the Awesome Golf app. And then I will be doing a video on the R10 using the Garmin Golf app, just with a regular Pro V, and we're going to see how that compares as well. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss those videos. All right, guys, if you've got any comments or questions, let me know down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.